Hello and welcome back. We're going to be playing yet another practice game, the highlights of which we should be able to analyse in another video, as we normally do with practice games. So let's roll. Black rolls a 1. White rolls a 4, so white must play a 4 and a 1. The standard opening move which I recommend with a 4 and a 1, well, you could go 4 and 1 here and advance these two checkers, but we can advance these two checkers with other combinations. What I prefer to play with a 4 and 1 opening move is to go 4 and 1, 5 there, to build some extra checkers here, build some extra ammunition, to be able to have extra checkers here, to be able to prime off these points here. So that's what I prefer to play with a 4 and a 1. So let's see what black can roll now. Okay, black rolls a double 3. Now, the standard move which I recommend with a double 3 is to move these two checkers 1, 2, 3 spots. Now, I don't recommend moving these 2, 3 spots here because you're not the key points to prime are these 3 points here. That's not a key priming point there, so I don't recommend that. You're just using extra checkers to prime off a point that doesn't really matter. It's too close to these two checkers. And to move double 3 here is a little pointless as well, because, I mean, if it was a double 4 and you primed off here, it's not one of these 3 key points here, but that's at least a somewhat better point to prime off, but priming this point really is pointless. So what I prefer to do is then play these two checkers on again, 1, 2, 3, and you've basically taken the back two checkers out and primed off a very key point here near your opponent's quarter. So that's the standard double 3 move that I recommend. So white rolls a 4 and a 2. The standard move for 4 and a 2 is to prime off here, which is what I'm going to do. It's priming a key point, and although black's moved those two checkers out, we're still going to prime off that point in case white gets a hit later. So it's always used to prime these points early in the game anyway. Okay, black rolls a 6 and a 2. Well, 6 and a 2 would be awkward as far as moving any of these checkers are concerned, because you don't want to leave a checker on its own too close to your own quarter, which would be what we're going to end up doing if we move any of these checkers here. So really, the only thing you can do is move one of these checkers. So now we can't move this checker 6 spot, like we can't go 2 and then move that checker 6. That's blocked off there. So, and we can't really move any of these checkers 6 spots because we're leaving a checker on its own near our own quarter. So really the only move you can play, the only feasible move, is to go 2 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. That's really the only feasible move. This checker could get hit, but it's a checker that's come from that quarter anyway. So, I mean, it's really the only feasible thing you can do with that roll. 6 and a 2 is not a terribly good roll, considering the fact that black had already got these two checkers on that point there. So 6 and a 2 was not a good roll for black. Okay, white rolls a 3 and a 1. Yeah, see, with a 3 and a 1, normally you would play three and a 1 where you would prime off this point here with a 3 and with that checker and that checker. You prime that point here with the 3 and a 1, but I really want to hit that checker and force it back into that quarter. That's what I want to do at this stage. Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit risky because if I hit that checker there and then go 1, 2, 3, I hit and then put that checker there safely, but then it's easy for that checker to get back in and possibly get out again. I'm not terribly keen on doing that. I mean, but then again, see, white's checkers are still stuck back here, whereas black's checkers are advanced. So, like I said, 3 and a 1, it's ideal because if we had a 4 and a 2, we built ammunition here, so we can now prime off with the 3 and a 1 there. It's really tempting to prime off there in case you get a hit later. I mean, to hit that checker there, it's only going back here anyway. I'm not quite sure really. Like I said, let's do that anyway. Let's just hit with a 1 and then go 1, 2, 3. Really, you want to force that checker back in, so let's see what happens. So black rolls a 5 and a 1. With a 5 he can get back in. He can't really, well, he can't move that one space there. Again, can't move that one space here. So can't move either of those two checkers one space. It'd be foolish to move that checker one space or that checker one space, because then you'd be leaving two checkers on their own. So we'll just move this checker one space here. So this checker gets left on its own, but that's really all you can do with that roll. See, that's the benefit of having done a hit here, because black with the 5 had to get in and then couldn't do much else with the 1. So that was the advantage of hitting that checker, where has to get back in with one dice and then has to play the other one. Can't play the 5 and the 1, had to get back in with the 5. So let's see what white also rolls a 5 and a 1. What I would recommend here with a 5 and a 1 is, well, he could go 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and get that checker out. But I would go 5 here and a 1 here, because that puts an extra checker there where he can hit again with a 3 and a 1 if he rolls a 3 and a 1. So another checker is back there for priming opportunities. Now, okay, so 3 and a 2 for black is, well, not the ideal roll. That checker there has to be rescued from being on its own. So what I would be inclined to do is to go, 3 and a 2, you could play here and build some checkers off for priming, but really you've got to get rid of that checker from being on its own. So I would go 1, 2, 3, and then move this checker 2 spots here to at least get it out of there. back to that point. There has not been really, neither side has had terribly good rolls at the moment, so the rolls have been a bit average for both sides. Okay, 4 and a 1. 4 and a 1 gives you a total of 5. Well, you've got some options here. You could go 4 and 1, 5 there, again to build some extra checkers for priming opportunities. But I'd be inclined not to do that at this stage because black hasn't really got any checkers in here. So to build up here for priming opportunity is not that great, considering that one of black's checkers is gone from that corner anyway and the other one's there. So really I'd be inclined to play 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 to advance those two back checkers so they can get out of there and possibly do a prime here. So see what happens with the next roll. Okay, so 5 and oh dear. This is a very, very bad roll for black. If black, there's only one move that black can make in order not to leave a checker vulnerable near his own quarter. And that's to play 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any other move would have left a checker on its own near his own quarter, which could have been hit by these two. And you know, like you did not want to, for example, you did not want to play 5 and then hit with a 1. You didn't want to do that, you know, because if you'd done that, one checker would have been left on its own there, and white would have had ample opportunity to hit with the next roll, either with the checker that had been hit or with that checker, you know. So really, the only safe move to play is to go 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that checker cannot be hit. It's a pity that you've lost the checker there, so you've lost the potential priming opportunity, but it's the only safe move to play. Okay, 3 and a 2. This is interesting. 3, yeah, not a terribly good roll. What we will do, the best thing for white is to go 2 here, so these two checkers are now advanced and not on their own, so they can't be hit and they can run any time. And then you can play 1, 2, 3 here. Well, much of a muchness really, but at least there will be some sort of priming opportunity there in case white does a hit later. So that's probably the best thing you can do with that roll. 6 and a 5. Well, interesting. Oh gosh. See, 6 and a 5 normally would be a fantastic roll because you just take that checker, 6 and 5, but that checker's already advanced. So what are you going to do with the 6 and a 5? Well, again, it's you see, the only safe move that black can play without getting hit is to go 5 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've kind of buried two checkers there. Not very ideal to bury those two checkers there, but again, not a good roll. Not a good roll considering that these checkers are already out. So burying a couple of checkers is better than leaving a checker on its own and vulnerable to a hit. So it's just so interesting. Both black and white are getting bad rolls, and as you can see, there has not been much priming. I mean, both black and white have managed to get the back checkers in black's case out, in white's case advanced, but that's all they've done. They haven't really done much priming or anything. So interesting. 6 and a 4. Well. Finally, one side gets a really good roll. Look at this. 6, okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. What a fantastic roll. That was good. And that's what I mean about that checker on its own was in a good position there, considering that, well, now there's a hit and a prime. So that's just perfect. Okay, 2 and a 1. So, well, really, black has to get back. Well, black can get back in with a 2 or a 1, but he can get back in with a 1 and then play 2 here again, not to leave any checkers vulnerable to getting hit. Like the last thing black wants now is to get another checker hit, considering that white has primed off quite nicely there. Okay, now white rolls a 4 and a 1. Yeah, I'm not too sure if that's a terribly good roll. I mean, white can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 1 there with that checker. But these two checkers are doing nicely on their own, thank you very much. They're protecting each other. They can't get hit and they can run any time. So the one thing I'd be inclined to do with a 4 and a 1 would be to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1. Now, that's a good opportunity where with several combinations, white can do a hit and a prime there. So yeah, that's not a bad move at all. See, oh, there you go, 6 and 5. See, now all of white's plans here have now been usurped because black simply takes that out. So all of this priming for white has come to nothing because black's just got that checker out. But mind you, white's not doing badly because white has got a lot of checkers close to his own quarter or inside his own quarter, and these two checkers can run any time they want. So white's doing very well, thank you very much. White rolls a 6 and a 2. Well, well, see, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This checker cannot run with a 6 and a 2 because he can go 2 here, but then he can't go 6 there. So really, I mean, again, those two checkers are not in a bad position. I'd hate to repeat myself, but they can run anytime they want. So what we'll do, we'll go 6 here and 2 there. We've got all these checkers close to white's quarter. So with the exception of these two checkers, all these checkers are close to white's quarter. And there's also good priming opportunities in case there's a hit. So let's see what black can do next. 4 and a 2. See, 2 here and a 4 there is not too bad, but the thing is, considering that most of white's checkers are close to his own quarter, I don't really want to play 2 checkers inside the quarter here. I'd be more inclined to get checkers back into the quarter. So, and you can't play 4 and a 2 with any of these checkers. That's dangerous. It's leaving checkers on its own, and you know white's doing very well priming here. So what I'd be inclined to go is go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Now it does free up that space there, but that space being primed wasn't much use for black because white's not really blocked in here. So let's just move some checkers into black's quarter. I mean, black hasn't had many good rolls anyway, so let's make the most of it. That's what I'd be inclined to do. So, oh, wow. See, this is where double sixes are seldom a bad roll. The vast majority of times they're an excellent roll. Now it becomes a running game. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, black has got 5 checkers a fair way from home, from his own quarter. White's got 6 checkers close to his quarter, so that double six decidedly gives the advantage to white. Okay, so with the roll of 5 and a 1, since it's a running game, black has to advance the checkers as close to possible. So we'll just play 5 and a 1 there, just get these 2 checkers close to home, to his own quarter, that is. Oops, now as I've said in the previous video, when a dice lands on top of a checker, we have to roll again. Because sometimes dice can land in a crooked way, so even if it doesn't land in a crooked way, the rule is you just roll again. That's just, I mean, it prevents arguments from, one person saying, yeah, but it didn't land crooked. Oh, yes, it did land crooked. So the universal law is, if it doesn't land on the board, you roll again. Okay, so 4 and a 1. So white wants to just get the checkers in as quickly as possible. So that's a 1 and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Both sides have to get the checkers in as quickly as possible. Okay, 6 and a 4, so 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Bit of a candlestick there, but black's got to get checkers in, both sides, but especially black has to get checkers into his own quarter ASAP. See, that's what I mean. Sometimes when the dice lands on one of the checkers, it lands in a crooked manner. So whether it does or not, we play the roll again. So 6 and a 2, so 1, 2, again. Bit of a candlestick here, but you've got to get the checkers in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. White has a clear advantage at the moment. The checkers are much closer to home for white. So 5 and a 2 candlestick, but no choice really. Black's just got to get those checkers in. 5 and 4, white has got the clear advantage. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. White clearly has the advantage right now. Black needs some seriously good rolls. 6 and 4. So black gets those 2 close to his own quarter. White can now start taking checkers off the board. Okay, 5 and a 1, that's a total of 6. Let's take that off. Black rolls a 5 and a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. Terrible candlestick here. But got to get those checkers in. Just got to get those checkers in. Well, it stops rolling eventually. 6 and a 1, so it takes the 6 off. Plays a 1. Not a terribly good roll, but that's the sort of roll you want at the beginning of the game, not at that stage. Okay, 5 and 1, total of 6. Let's take 1 off there. Anyone's game right now, but white has the advantage. 6 and 5. Take those 2 off there. Okay, so 4. Let's play that 1 here. So again, both sides are having bad rolls right now. Oops, 5 and 1's got a total of 6. Okay, 5 and a 4, so let's take those two off. Six and a 3, so let's take those two off there. Black will have to concede soon if he doesn't roll some terribly good rolls. That wasn't a terribly good roll. 3 and a 2, oh gosh. 2 and 1, 2, 3. That was a bad roll. Black's going to be close to conceding. Oh gosh. Many people would concede at this stage. I think Black's one roll away from conceding. Black's pretty much going to concede. Yeah, okay, it's all over. It's all over for Black. As you saw, well, really, I mean, yeah, no, if I was Black, I'd resign at this stage. As you saw, this game was a pretty uneventful game. A lot of games can turn out to be uneventful. Not many hits. I think there was only one from memory. But anyway, it just goes to show that well, that double 6 that White rolled when the two checkers were here, that double 6 changed the game. I mean, double 6s, and then White rolled another double 6 just then as well. So doubles, especially double 6s, can turn an entire game around. And White was smart to run with those two checkers once he got a double 6, because he just had everything close to the home quarter. And then from that point on, neither side had terribly good rolls, but the fact that White's checkers were so much closer to his own quarter gave White that distinct advantage. And then towards the end, when White got another double 6, well, that just sealed Black's fate. So but even if White hadn't got that double 6 at the end, it would have been difficult for Black to win. So and this is happening time and time again in our practice games, where one really good double, particularly a double 6, just changes the entire game in one side's favour.